Hi, welcome. How you doing? I'm doing fantastic. Today we're doing a mid-year freaked out. Okay, this has been my first time doing this tag, so I'm super excited. This year hasn't been the best for me reading wise, but we're just gonna like roll with it. Okay, for I'll say like generally this year I don't have like any stand out because everything that I've read so far is like yes it's good, but most of them they're not like groundbreaking. Okay, I've only read like 24 books so far this year, which is not my best personally, but you know what, we're just gonna roll with it. It is what it is. So grab a drink and let's get started. Okay, the first question that we have is, what's the best book you've read so far this year? And that would be One Day Everybody Will Always Have Been Against This. I think that's the title. Is it One Day Everybody Will Have Always Been Against This? Is one of them by Omar Al Akkad. Okay, this is from a non-fiction that I read this year, and this was very morally grounding for me because over the last year, I've witnessed a lot of tragedy, a lot of like unspeakable thing, and most of the time your leaders are acting like nothing of this is happening. The politician, most of them are acting like it's not happening, or they're like minimizing it. So this book was very morally grounding, and it's just like it talk about why liberalism, it talk about like the hypocrisy of the West, and this was absolutely fantastic, and I think you should definitely give this a read. And that would be like my one of the best books that I actually read this year. For like an honorable mention, I also have Flamboyant. This is like a collection of very short biography on 12 queer black figure of the Harlem Renaissance. That was also very informative. So yes, this is not how I usually roll. I think those are the only two nonfiction that I actually read this year. I started reading nonfiction again last year, so yeah, those two was absolutely fantastic, and I think you should give it a try. All right, next question is the best sequel. All right, so I only read, would I call them sequel? It's like a little, I read two of them. One was Doors and Window. It was like a little novella sequel to a series of Room. And I also read With You by Marty Valentine. That's also like a little novella sequel, I think you'll call it, to Without You. And out of both of them, I think both of them were very good, but if I have to choose, I think Doors and Windows was actually like a little bit, I it was a little bit better, not better in a sense because it's two different story. Well, Doors and Window, I like it a little bit better because something that I want to improve when I first read a series of Room, those things were a little bit improved in this one. So I think yes, and also With You was also very nice because I read the first book a couple years ago, and this one is just like we see this couple, they are both romances. I wouldn't say like a series of Room is actually romance, but it is what it is. But With You is like a romance, and this like couple that I like them really good, and you see them like get married, have kid and all of that. So yeah, that was actually fantastic. That was so long of an answer. All right, next we have a new release you haven't read yet, but you want to. This is a lot of them, okay? A lot of them. So I'm just gonna like count them real quick. So we have The Secret World of Briar Rose. I have The Art of Loving You by Natasha Bishop. I have The Obake Code by Makana Yamamoto. And there's also this book called There's Only One Scene in Hollywood. It was very interesting, and I want to read it before the year is over. There's a lot, okay? There's a lot of book I want to read, but those are just like some that I want to read before the year is over. All right, next is your most anticipated release for the rest of the year. First, we have Espirito, I think that's Espirito, I'm sorry, by Eden Thomas. I think it's Espirito. I don't know. Okay, just correct me in the comment section how you're supposed to say it. But by Eden Thomas, it's coming in September, and I'm like, oh my god, I've read. It's the sequel to Cemetery Boys. I read Cemetery Boys last year, and that book literally it healed me, and then it broke my heart. Like it was absolutely fantastic, and you should definitely read it. So Espiritu is coming in September, and I can't wait to like read about Yadriel and Julian again. I'm super excited. And next one is Red Royal and Royal Blue, the private correspondent. When I told you this year when Casey told us like this book was coming, I was so excited. Okay, Red White and Royal Blue is one of my favorite book of all time. I love Red White and Royal Blue. Okay, I don't care how basic that make me, but that book was so fantastic, and I reread it again this year in January, and it just reminded me what I love reading so much. So I can't wait for this little novella to come out in December. Yeah, so those are the two books that I actually cannot wait to come out so I can read them. So yeah, I'm super excited. All right, next question is the best surprises of this year. Okay, first, we have Luna Boy. It was a graphic novel that I read earlier this year that absolutely broke my heart. It was the biggest surprise because I didn't know I was gonna relate to this book as much as I did, and it was like heartbreaking. Okay, like some of the books that I'm talking about now, they were in my Q1 wrap up. I have to also do my Q2 wrap up soon, so don't worry about that. And this one, it was just like it broke my heart and it made me cry so much. And it speaks to the immigrant experience and like how you feel so order in your own family. And like this is like a graphic novel that's gonna stick with me for a long time. It's like I think it's even a contender to like one of the best books that I've read so far this year. But since I haven't read like a lot of books, I just want to give like a couple of them their own category, because yeah, it was one of the best surprises that I had this year, because I didn't know I was gonna love it as much as I did. So yeah, that was that. All right, next we have your newest favorite author. I think my newest favorite author has to be like Omar Akkad, because yeah, one day everybody will always been against us. That book was very good. And also the author of Luna Boy, I can't wait to read more from them. I think they're like either siblings. I think they're siblings like writing this graphic novel. So yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. And also earlier this year I read Son of the Morning, and it just certified to me that Akweke Emeze is like it's gonna be one of my favorite authors of all time, because I read Pen and Bitter last year. I read Son of the Morning earlier this year. Yeah, and it's just like I think like they are gonna be like one of those authors that I'm gonna read about every single time. I have like most of the books on my shelf, and I can't wait to go through all of their catalog. They also have a book coming out next year called like Eclipse and the Wolf. I think Eclipse and Wolf or something like that. I'll put like a cover some over here, and I can't wait for also that to come out. It's coming next year, so super excited. All right, next question is your newest favorite character. All right, so so for this year I haven't had like a favorite character, but I'm just gonna talk about like the character that I relate to the most, or a character that it's not like I'm not in love with them, or like they're not my favorite, but also I like the journey that they went throughout the book. So first we have Indu for Luna Boy. He was just like a little precious boy to me. And we also have Galilee from Son of the Morning. She's just like a little badass, and I love her. And we also have Lucifer from Son of the Morning. He literally charmed me reading the whole book. He was so charming and so pleasant to read about. And every time I'm his head, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do, and I like that. I like the way like Lucifer, the character that he was supposed to be, he was. So I absolutely adore him for that. Okay. All right. Next we have book that made you cry. Okay, I'm a crybaby. I cried at everything. Literally anything, I cried at everything. All the books that I ever read, at least like I will shed a tears, or I'll have like, tears welling up in my eyes. So every book that I've read is always, there's gonna be a tear or two. But I think like one of the book that like broke my heart this year first is Blood Orange by Yafa. This is what's the thing called, this is a collection of poetry about Palestine, and this literally broke my heart. Like I was going through like all of the poem, and like I cried so many times reading different poem and all of that. And also, like I was saying before, Luna Boy, that book also completely broke my heart. Okay, so those are the book that are like heavy crying happen. But every book that I ever read, there's gonna be a tear. That's just how I am. Okay, next question is a book that made you happy. Okay, so earlier this year I did some reread. So we just want to talk about like, these are some of the books that I've read before, so I know I was gonna love them anyway, but they still brought me so much joy. And one of them is Red, White, and Royal Blue. I read that back in January, and that book just brings me so much peace and joy. And I love Alex and Henry so much. And also I also reread A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Single Mandana. That book is fantastic. I absolutely adored it, so that also brings me a lot of happiness. And last but not least, we have Son of the Morning. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, I love Son of the Morning by Akuki Emeze. It was just like a very smutty, happy book, and I love it. It has his moment, okay? Don't, it's not all happy. It has his moment that will like break your heart a little bit, but like those are the book that actually brought me like a lot of happiness earlier this year. Okay, all right, next we have the most beautiful book you bought this year. Okay, I have them up over there, but I don't want to take them out, so I'll find a copy and put it on the screen. But this year I subscribed to the Broken Binding, and one of the first book that I got was the Bone Shore Daughters, the series. I don't know, I think it's the Bone series. I don't know how the series is called, but it's the Bone Shore Daughter and all of that. Oh my god, that series is so beautiful. The way the broken binding and all of that, it was so pretty. But aside from like special edition, I got this copy of, let me get it. I got this copy of The Rise of Kiyoshi, and like she looks like such a badass. Okay, she's such a badass. So yes, I think that's like I have like a lot of special edition, and this year none of them have blown me away the way the Bone Shore series have blown me away, because it's absolutely fantastic. And literally this one, that's why I displayed over here, because like she's a badass, and I can't wait to read this book. All right, next is what books you need to read before the end of the year. Okay, that's also so many books, so let's get started. First we have Year of the Mare. This is like a black sapphic mermaid retelling. I can't wait to read that. I have The Spear Cost to Water. I know it's been released for a long time, but I actually want to read that book before the year is over. I have Queen of Faces. I have The Black Count. This is like the Black Count is the story about Alexander Dumas' father. So he based the Count of Monte Cristo on his father. So I want to read the Black Count before I read the Count of Monte Cristo. And I also have Season of Glass and Iron by Amar El-Matar. I started it earlier this year, but for some reason I let it down. I was having a good time with it too, so I also need to finish that book. So yeah, that's that. And I think this is our last question, and I think I forgot it earlier, is your newest fictional crush. Okay, so for this, I actually don't develop crushes on a lot of people, and that's just like my arrow is thing going on because I don't develop a lot of crushes. But last year I was very very infatuated. I can't even talk anymore. So last year I read Devon and Chris Plan a Wedding, and Chris was so charming. It was like a black sapphic book, and I think like Chris is my wife. Okay, that's just that. And but this year I don't have any fictional crushes, but I would say that Lucifer from Son of the Morning, he was like very charming. Okay, I would give him that. He was very, very charming and he was hilarious. So yes, and he made me very giddy. I think like Akoki did such an amazing job with his character. So yes, I think he was like one of those characters that I just found very, very charming. So yeah, that's our mid-year freaked out. And I think next I'm gonna do my Q2 wrap up. You know, it's not a lot of book, but we'll see how that goes. So if you're still watching, tell me all of your answer in the comment section. The best book that you've read, the one that disappoints you. You know what, I'm saying this and literally I forgot to do. Okay, this tag is going all over the places. I was supposed to do the book that disappointed me and I completely forgot. Oh my god, isn't that such a thing? Okay, I think one of the books that disappointed me, let's just go with it, is Royal Scoundrel by Saction James, and I read this also earlier this year. This is like a romance book, and I just like I finished the book and I couldn't care less, which is like it never happened to me with Hassan James book. So that one really disappointed me. And the second book that also disappointed me the most was Recipe for Unexpected Afterlife, because I was like really looking forward to finishing this book, and when I finished it, it just like it made me feel so flat, and it also like I have such a higher expectation for it, so it didn't meet any of those expectations. So yeah, those are the two books that actually very disappointed me this year, but it is what it is, you know. Yeah, this video is all over the places, so I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know everything that all the answer to all of this question, the book that you want to read before the year is over, your best surprises, everything. Just let me know in the comment section below, and I'll catch you in the next one. As always, free Palestine, free Congo, and free Sudan. Bye.